good to see you again. It's been a while.
It's been a while. I want everyone to know, Daniel, when I listen to that song, right? That was filmed. You want to tell everybody when you...
At the ski retreat in Vermont.
The MGE ski retreat in Vermont.
That's right.
And my son Yosef is playing, and you asked everybody to sing along with him.
That's right.
And I wonder whether, it sounds like joyous and uplifting. It's not the most like professionally... but you wanted that. Tell everyone why you wanted that.
I got together with a professional jazz guitarist who's a member of the congregation, and we made, he's a great guitar player, and we made a recording, and it sounded really clean, and we used like the best microphones. But I don't know if that's the kind of podcast we want to have. It's like the most professional, most precise.
No, we want sloppy, but we want lots of Jews.
That's right.
Jumping around.
It's
up
about
and
the
down.
people.
It's about the people.
Yeah, and we had lots of people, so we got them to sing. And
I wanted there to be some segment about the song.
There we go. That's good. And I have a topic for today, but I also have a question I've been interested in asking you. So let's hit that first. Jews are required to give 10% of their income to charity.
It's really technically a minhag. Minhag means a custom. It's a very strong custom.
Okay.
It's not like it's mentioned anywhere in the Torah, or that our Chazal instituted that as some sort of rabbinic edict, 10%. It's just that we see that again and again in the Torah, that you're supposed to give maser, tithing your crops and the like. And that became minhag Yisrael. That became a custom for the Jewish people. And once something becomes a custom for a certain amount of time, it takes on at least a level of rabbinic law.
But the part where you're supposed to donate to charity is
that's a biblical command.
Biblical command.
It's just a question is, how do you fulfill that biblical command? So most of the rabbis teach based on this custom 10%.
Right.
Before or after taxes?
No, you calculate the amount after taxes.
After
right?
taxes.
Right.
So if you make $100,000 a year,
right,
and Uncle Sam takes 50, let's just keep it clean.
Right.
So you're left with 50,000. So you're supposed to tithe your 50,000 and give 5 to charity.
Right. Okay. So two questions come up. A lot of questions come up, but two come up. One is, what if you're afraid that you're already not going to have enough money? Should you then still give 10% of your not enough money?
You have to extend yourself as far as you can.
Okay.
But you can't extend yourself so far as to put yourself on the other side now.
Yeah. Of needing charity. Now.
Of needing.
Yeah.
So, but the Talmud says that afilu ha'ani hamitzparnes min hatamchui. An ani, ayin nun yud, is a poor person who's so poor that they are subsisting on the tamchui, which is like the ancient version of a soup kitchen.
Right.
Even such a Jew has to give tzedakah, has to give charity. But they can't afford to give 10%.
Right.
And then there are things to rely on to help individuals who who just physically cannot afford to give 10% of their income, because some of it is going to their regular expenses.
Right. Because I know there's a principle that we're supposed to believe that the more we give, the more we'll receive, at least up to 10%.
Yeah.
You have faith. I'm going to give away some of what's been handed to me in faith that enough will come to me.
More will come.
More. And that's a beautiful idea. And you hear it and you say, wow, I really believe it. But then maybe you're looking at your budget and it's a real test of faith.
Listen, I do a lot of fundraising, as you know. And a lot of my donors have told me that the more money they give away, the more they see.
Yeah.
And they attribute one thing to the next. I'll say this in memory of one of our members of our board for many years. His name was Meyer Offman, a blessed memory. He was a wonderful, wonderful man, very successful day trader. And he used to tell, he said, Mark, every time I give, I do better. Whenever I give, I end up doing better in the market. Of course, it requires a little faith, and you may not see that all the time.
Right.
But there are some leeways. Like if you can't, it's not great, but you could pay your synagogue dues or your yeshiva day school tuition. You could pay that from your maser, from your 10%. It's very much less than the ideal.
Okay.
But it's not like, I need to go on a scholarship for the school.
Yeah.
And then you're going to give away, charity to the poor. You can't. You shouldn't be doing that.
Okay. Right. That was going to be my next question is
Mm-hmm.
like, well, what counts as charity? Is donating to your synagogue charity?
Yes.
Okay. But then if your synagogue expects you to pay dues and you get something of, you get
It's
value
still,
from your dues.
It's still, it doesn't matter. It's still considered tzedakah.
Okay.
As far as halacha is concerned,
As far as
Jewish
law
law.
is-
As far as the IRS is concerned, we have to write on the bottom of our thank you notes, our acknowledgments,
Yes.
receipts,
Right.
that no goods or services have been exchanged.
Oh, interesting.
So the IRS, for example, if you were an attorney and you said, Rabbi, I'm going to give 10 free legal hours of my legal expertise, and I charge $500 an hour.
Right.
So that's
That's a $5,000 donation, right?
it is not a $5,000 donation under the rules and laws of the IRS.
Interesting.
It is under halacha if it's like objective kind of thing, but it's not. It's a little of a gray area. It might be considered a chesed.
What's a
Chesed is
chesed?
kindness.
Okay. Which
There
is
is a
different from a mitzvah.
Different from tzedakah.
Okay, we have three things now. We have a mitzvah, we have tzedakah, and we have chesed.
So mitzvah refer to all of these things. Mitzvah is just a general term for any one of the 613 commandments in the
Okay.
Torah. There's a commandment to give tzedakah,
Yes.
charity,
Yes.
which is not a good English translation. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
And there's also a mitzvah to do chesed, to do an act of kindness, visiting the sick, paying a shiva call if God forbid somebody passes away, helping somebody out who's down and out. Their place is falling apart, and you're helping them fix it up again.
And all kinds of little things can be chesed, right? You help someone on the street carry something heavy.
Yes,
that's
that's
a
a
chesed.
chesed.
Okay.
And they're all in fulfillment of the biblical adage, "V'ahavta l'recha kamocha," love your neighbor as yourself.
Right.
But giving tzedakah, although it sounds like a chesed, is not. It's a separate mitzvah.
Oh.
We're supposed to do both.
Okay.
What's the main difference? Money.
Mm.
Chesed is done b'mono. B'momono, the Talmud says, with your money. And, other way. Chesed is done with begufo, with your
With
body.
your body. Yeah.
And tzedakah, charity, is done b'momono, with your money.
Okay, so you shouldn't just say, "Oh, I've been really helpful to people. You know, I do a lot of good deeds in my day, so I don't have to give money." It's a separate thing.
Now, if someone were to volunteer their time for MJE,
Mm.
that would be a chesed. It's not tzedakah.
Okay.
Tzedakah has to be cash. But it's an important thing to do. And
Yeah.
let's say somebody can't give as much charity that they want. I will tell you, as a fundraiser and as someone who runs an organization, a lot of people come through our doors here and they don't have money.
Right.
And that should never be a reason why somebody can't do Jewish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we ask people, but I also think it's important for people to give back in some kind of way, because if you don't give, you don't have as much skin in the game. And when you
Mhm.
don't have as much skin in the game, you don't feel invested.
Right.
And you flip-flop from one place to the next. It's a big issue in Manhattan
Oh.
with a lot of young Jewish men and women, religious and not religious.
Right.
They go to this shul for this, they go to this, that, and they don't feel invested in any one place.
Right. One has better food. One has better singing, and you shop
And
around.
everyone thinks they're getting the best thing in the world because I get like the best of all worlds. You're not getting the best of
The
all
best of
worlds.
all worlds is when you are in the community and you're sharing with the community and you're helping the community.
I just went to a funeral,
Okay.
unfortunately. Evelyn Rockland, of blessed memory, was a dear friend of my mother of blessed memory. And I just heard a eulogy from my friends who lost their mother. But I also heard a eulogy from Rabbi Lookstein. He should live and be well. Rabbi Lookstein, I think, is 92, 93. Was Evelyn Rockland's rabbi for 62 years.
Wow.
You know what it is to be someone's rabbi for 62 years?
No.
That means that you were at their wedding.
Yeah.
You're at their kids' brisses,
Yeah.
bar mitzvahs, their weddings,
Yeah.
their kids' brisses, bar mitzvahs. And then that's called continuity, and that's how real relationships are built. Now,
Yeah.
Manhattan is not that kind of place always because people are coming and going. But even within the few years that a single person is living in Manhattan, you want to have that same sipuk nefesh, that same satisfaction of the soul of mattering to a certain group of people.
Yeah.
You can't matter to everyone.
No.
And if you keep flip-flopping from place to place, you won't get the same benefit of the relationship. It won't be as deep. And your learning, I don't think, will be as deep either.
Mm.
Because it's not just about picking up information. It's about digging deeper.
Yeah.
And you need to stick around in the same place long enough for that to happen. Okay, I know there's nothing to do with giving charity, but it's very connected. Because if you give, to a certain place, it's going to make you feel invested.
Yeah.
And if you feel invested, you're going to want to put more in and get more out. And just, I'll give you another example. You know that Will, who's a member of MJE, has been coming here for the last couple of years. He's now transitioning out to Israel. We're super proud. He's planning on making Aliyah. Calls me up. Rabbi, I realized that Adam Elkaim bought you guys a couple of new talisim, but I think there's just like 4 or 5 of them. And you need like a talit, a prayer shawl.
Yes.
You need some more, right?
Right.
I'm going to Israel. Can I get MGE? He's still thinking about what his minyan that he came to every week on Shabbat.
He's not getting any more from MJE. He's not taking from MJE anymore, but he's still thinking of giving to MJE.
And by giving, he's still getting.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're shopping around to different shuls and you're going to the one with the best music for music and the one with the best food, you're probably not giving much to any of them, and then you're really not getting the value.
Now, I understand why people do it. People are looking for their soulmate.
Yeah.
And MJE has, thankfully, a lot of people coming, but not everybody is coming here. They're going to this shul and that synagogue and blah, blah. So I get that.
You come for a few weeks and you say, I don't think I saw my soulmate
My soulmate
yet.
is not here. So I get that. I understand that. But giving tzedakah is just as much for the giver as it is the givee.
Well, the other side of like looking for your soulmate is like, well, maybe your soulmate is not here right now, but if you take the time to become a pillar of this community, then if your soulmate does pass through MJE, that person will see, oh, wow, this guy's really like part of this community. This person's really valuable to the community, you know?
Right.
And if your soulmate is talking to people there, they'll say, oh, Daniel or whoever is like gives a lot to this community. He's a really important part. You should
And I'll tell you,
him.
the other thing that happens is that you endear yourself to other people who then think of ideas.
Of someone you could meet.
Yeah, a lot of matchmaking going on here.
Right.
I have a friend, he or she doesn't come here, but we're friends. Would you like to meet him? And you only have that conversation after you've been coming X amount of times to a place.
Yeah. I don't think you say there's anything wrong with once in a while going and checking out other communities.
No, there's nothing wrong. It's not a moral issue.
Right.
But it will, I think, stunt your spiritual growth if you're flip-flopping all over the place.
Right. You should have your community.
It also says Aseh l'charav in the ethics of our fathers.
Make yourself a teacher.
rabbi.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't have multiple. I have multiple rabbis, but
Sure.
you don't want to be all over the place.
Like, it's okay to have multiple rabbis, but ideally you should know who your rabbi is.
Yeah,
right?
and you should know where you are, like, and where you fall on the spectrum. Like, you just want to find your place of comfort.
Yeah.
And you can grow much easier there and feel more comfortable.
And so donating money to your synagogue is a legitimate form of
100%.
tzedakah.
Yeah. The primary recipients of charity, of tzedakah, are poor people.
Okay.
That's considered primary tzedakah.
Okay.
Secondary tzedakah, also tzedakah, but secondarily is giving to institutions that support you or that are necessary for the community, MJE, synagogues, and the like.
And so whatever money you do have to donate, you should split between those types of
So it's not so
charities?
clear how much.
Okay.
There's a lot of leeway there, but you should make sure that you're giving, real money to poor people. It shouldn't just be institutions.
Okay. What about like the annual dinner, for example? It's like a fundraising dinner.
Yeah.
So, if your ticket costs a certain amount of money, it's like some of that is for your dinner, but it is also charity.
Correct.
Is that a legitimate use of charity?
It is a legitimate use of charity because the way that charities raise more money is through these dinners. And I can tell you this from very up and close personal experience.
Yeah.
Although it would seem to be like a waste to like have to pay a hall and a caterer and photographers.
Yeah.
Well, we don't pay so much for photographers. Let's just get the money without it.
Right. You come to the dinner and say, you spent all this money on the dinner. You could have been spending it on the thing you're trying to raise money for.
Yeah, but that's what gets more people to give. You get all these more people who otherwise don't know who you are to come in to donate because of the hoo-ha. Now, having said that, I think it's criminal to spend too much on the hall and too much on the thing. And, like it's going overboard to show how cool and, so you have to try. And again, these are all gray areas because one person's too much is another person's, one person's extravaganza is another person's modesty. So, but
since I moved to New York, everything seems pretty extravagant.
Yeah, well, we don't go crazy at our dinners.
Okay.
I mean, I try to either do them at a synagogue or at another Jewish institution. We're doing our annual dinner this year at the Holocaust Museum downtown, which is a beautiful venue in Battery Park.
Should we plug the date?
May 27th. It's going to be unbelievable. Our dinners are great, and this year we're shining a light on those who have stood up for Israel and against anti-Semitism.
Nice.
And because, so we're going to be honoring some very interesting people that we will be announcing.
Okay.
And we have a couple already lined up. And yeah, you want to get as many people to come, because even though over $100 is going for the food and the band and whatever it is, and shouldn't that money just go right to the charity? Of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's another function to these dinners, and that is you're pumping up your community. It's a rah-rah.
Yeah, pep rally.
It's a pep rally.
Yeah.
You need that. Shuls need more than money. Organizations need inspiration, and they need what's the word? Support, encouragement, and rah-rah. Yeah. Ruach.
Yeah.
We have a lot of it at our dinner.
Well, so a cool thing about committing to giving tzedakah is that I would never consider spending that kind of money on a dinner. But if a certain amount of my money is already set aside for tzedakah, then it's like, oh, this is a good use for that money.
Yeah, it is a good use, and it is considered tzedakah, even though, according to the IRS, the amount of money, let's say the ticket is $500 and $200 of those $500 is going towards the venue, the caterer, and all that.
Right.
According to the IRS, you can only get a tax deduction for the remaining $300.
Well, how do they know? How much is...
Because when we write the receipt and the thank you note, we say, we take off a certain amount.
Okay.
We say, thank you for your gift of $500 to the Manhattan Jewish Experience. And on the bottom, it says that amount minus, and we give the exact number that it costs. Every year it varies.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. But in halacha, in Jewish law, I think the whole amount is considered part of your 10%.
Oh, okay.
Because, again, it's more than just the actual funds. And those funds are really promoting other people to give.
Yeah.
So you're making more money for the organization, for the non-for-profit.
Okay, now you said you did. We've been using the word charity, but you said that's really not right.
I'm
for
so happy you
tzedakah.
brought that up, Daniel, because the word charity in Webster
Okay,
is defined
I'm ready.
from the Latin word caritas,
Okay.
which means Christian benevolence or goodwill.
Does it really?
Yes.
That's great.
So now, forget the Christian part.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong, but goodwill
Yeah.
is not what tzedakah is. What's the Hebrew word tzedakah mean?
Righteousness.
Yeah, justice.
Justice.
In the law school I went to, Yeshiva University's law school, Cordova, it says tzedek, tzedek, tirdov. Justice, justice shalt thou pursue.
Wow.
It's a phrase from the Torah.
Yes.
What does giving charity have to do with justice? Because charity, if you view it as goodwill, benevolence, you're a good guy.
Yeah.
I'm in a good mood. I'm going to help this person out.
Yeah.
That's not what tzedakah is.
Really?
Tzedakah means it's an obligation.
Oh.
It's a responsibility. Rav Hirsch, the great German Jewish philosopher, in that book I'm pointing to right now, Chorev, says there beautifully that we do not view our money entirely as our own.
It's my money.
Yeah, I know it sounds a little communist. We view our money as being a gift.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying we didn't earn the money. We don't deserve the money. We respect private property. I can't just come along and say, hey, that's not really your money. It all belongs to Hashem. But it's a gift.
Yeah.
And we are entrusted with that gift.
Right.
And therefore, it is tzedakah, it is righteousness to ensure that those that didn't get the same gift, that wasn't bestowed the same, abundance,
Yeah.
bounty,
Yeah.
that we would do our job to try to equalize things as best as possible. And that is a very important Jewish concept. And that's why it's not like you're a nice guy if you do it. This is what you're supposed to do. It's a very different attitude. And it needs to be that way because poor people can't depend on your feelings.
Right. They can't wait for you to feel generous. They need the money.
They need the money, and it's not just poor people. Cancer is not going to get cured when people are in the mood.
Yeah.
Cancer is going to get cured when enough people put enough research into solving this,
Right.
and so whatever the cause is cannot rely on people's good graces.
Right. 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 If people only showed up to work when they felt like it, almost no one would be showing up to work. The trains wouldn't work.
Yeah, people say the same thing about prayer. Like, I'll pray when I feel like it.
You might never feel like it.
Or if you do, and you feel like it here and there, that's not sustainable. It's not transmittable to the next generation.
Right.
And you never get better at it then. Because you only get better and improve in things that you have a consistent, disciplined approach to.
Okay. And so tzedakah is that way too.
There's no question. And I'll say this about tzedakah. It doesn't come natural to a lot of people.
No.
If you were not raised in a home where you saw this, it's going to be hard for you to part with your hard-earned money.
Right.
If you were raised in a home where it was like part of the culture,
right.
I don't know why this kind of changed. You see it a little on Purim. Purim is next week. You'll see people knocking on people's doors asking for handouts in the Jewish community.
Mm-hmm.
That was a regular occurrence growing up in the 80s.
Really?
Like when I grew up.
You get a knock on your door.
People looked for mezuzahs.
Yeah.
They would go to Orthodox communities, or not even Orthodox communities. It was not particular to the Orthodox world. They would look for fellow Jews, and they would knock on the door. My mother or father, blessed memory, would call my brother and I down. Please go get this gentleman. It was usually a man.
Yeah.
Something to drink. And my father was usually busy. He needed a few minutes. And my brother and I, and we were kids, 8 years old, 10 years old, would be sitting with a complete stranger in my father's study, keeping him company until my dad could come out and talk to him.
Yeah.
I saw this all the time, like a few times a week.
Really?
Yeah. Now, I don't know what my father gave or not gave, but I know the respect he showed them.
Yeah.
I know that we served them something to eat sometimes and always something to drink. And I know they always left with something.
Yeah.
And that was a very common occurrence. And when you grow up with that, or we had parlor meetings in our home for organizations. I remember as a kid, like, why is my living room have 40 people in the living room and there's somebody speaking and there's a projector in there. Someone's doing like a PowerPoint presentation for some cause.
Okay.
This was a common thing.
Really?
You grow up around that. When someone asks you, you're not going to be as hesitant.
Right. And growing up around that, you have the trust that you're going to have enough even if you give some of yours away.
Yeah, because it's just part of your culture.
Yeah.
It's not something you're analyzing rationally, intellectually.
Right.
You're just doing it. Obviously, if you're not doing as well financially, you can't give as much.
Right.
But the idea of philanthropists is really an anomaly in Judaism.
Yeah.
Philanthropists, that whole word is like, there are these mega givers, and the rest of us watch them.
Yeah.
I just came back from a rabbinic conference. There were, 45, 50 rabbis. And the head rabbi, Rabbi Schachter, was plugging Yeshiva University's annual dinner. We all went to YU.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I know you guys are always encouraging your congregants to give charity, but rabbis have to give charity too. You have to give tzedakah as well.
Of course.
And he was soliciting us,
Yeah.
the solicitors for a donation. And that's just like what we do.
Yeah. I guess you talked about growing up and having people in your house. It's a number of different forms of trust, because you're trusting that if you give some of your money away, you'll still have enough. You're trusting that if you let a stranger into your home, that it'll be okay.
Yeah, you try to do a little vetting there.
A little bit.
You try to do a little vetting, and some people are more uptight about who comes through their home, and some people are more loosey-goosey about it. But generally speaking, you're inviting people to a fundraiser. People are expected when they come, they're going to leave a check. They're going to write. They're going to give something.
Oh, I meant when a stranger knocks on your door. You had trust, and I guess it went okay.
Yeah,
to let them in.
I just heard such a great story. I'm a crazy Beatles fan.
Yeah, I knew that.
So Paul McCartney is being interviewed.
Uh-huh.
They were about to go. They were about to go to the studio to record some of Sgt. Pepper's.
Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Thank you for filling that in. And there was a knock at his door, and he opens up the door. This is when he was single. He's like 26 now. He's in the Beatles.
Okay.
And he had this like mansion already, and he was very open.
Yeah.
And a guy who introduced himself as Jesus was at the door. He had a lot of hippies, a lot of smoking stuff.
Well, everyone looked like Jesus.
Yeah, and so the guy interviewing Paul said, "Well, what did you do?" He's like, he said he was Jesus. I invited him in. I offered him some food. He says, maybe he was Jesus. I don't want to be the guy. And I had to go to the studio, and he seemed like a very pleasant fellow. And I said, look, I got to go. He's like, where are you going? I said, I'm going. So I invited him to the studio, and he came for the recording of Sgt. Pepper's.
Jesus was there.
Jesus was there. And by the way, there's a video, a separate video confirming all this. There's a guy with long hair, very handsome kind of looking dude, looked like he was a little out of it, sitting on the floor watching the Beatles doing a recording.
And you know what? It's a great album, so who's to say that that's not...
Okay, going back to charity, I'll tell you one other story about how do you get your kids to want to do... Yeah. So a lot of people say, well, how do you start? It's a muscle that has to be worked. Okay. If you have $1,000, should you give the whole $1,000 away to one place or give $100 to 10 places? So some say the latter. Yeah. If you're starting to learn how to give, because the more times you actually give, even a coin, when they come around with a pushka,
pushka, what's that?
The pushka is like a charity box, which because on Shabbat we don't handle money, we don't do on Shabbat. Right. But if you come to Minyan Madness on Sunday, we're having it this Sunday.
Yes.
I'm holding a beautiful little tzedakah. It says Anshe Minyan, named after the WhatsApp group that we have called Minyan Men.
Yeah, that's right.
And people, take a quarter out, you take $1 and you stick it in. It just, something happens. And the more you do that, the more it loosens you up.
Mm. Yeah, it'd be good. I mean, I guess people are in the habit of like having dollars that they bring every morning when they come to prayers.
Yeah.
And like, maybe you're giving, if you're wealthy, you're giving thousands of dollars every month out of your, but it's also valuable to just have a few dollars of actual dollars. That
you want to turn into a giver. Yeah. That doesn't mean you give indiscriminately. You want to check out where you're giving to. Yeah. This comes up a lot when you're like on the subway and people are coming over to you, and it's a very big problem that I've had my whole life. Like, I don't know who to give to, who not, when people come over. Yeah. So the way I got out of it was, because you're not really supposed to turn people away.
Right.
But here's a good suggestion. Yeah. Jill and I went out for dinner the other night. There was a man, it was freezing out. Yeah. And there's a man lying on the floor, literally the next building from where we had dinner. And I just walked over, and it was so cold. I said, "Are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm okay." And he was like in a cardboard box. He was all bundled up. Yeah. So I asked him, I said, "Are you Jewish?" He said, "No." I said, "Good." And then I went into the local place, because I wasn't near the kosher place anymore, and got him a nice hot, soup. I didn't have to worry about the kashrut. Right. And I saw my brother doing that a bunch of times. Mm. So you can't go wrong, because let's say the person, unfortunately, was addicted to, I don't know, and he's spending all the money you're giving him on drugs. Right. Or cigarettes.
Right. You don't want to be enabling that.
You don't want to be enabling it, and you're kind of like wasting your money on someone you think really is poor legitimately, and he's really something else. Mm. But I don't have a problem feeding somebody who's an addict. Right.
Food is food.
Food is food. Yeah. So I just gave somebody a bowl of soup. Okay.
That's great. Yeah.
So that's like, that's the way I've answered people's questions over the years. Should I give? Yeah. So I have friends who used to carry some food around.
It's a good idea. Bring some Quest bars or something. Okay, so we talked about this idea that your money's not really yours. Like, you earned it, and maybe you worked very hard for your money, but that you're just holding on to it, right?
Yeah, and by the way, I can prove to you that the unemployment lines are filled with motivated, smart people.
Yeah, is that right?
And there are a lot of people doing really well who are not that smart and don't work so hard. Right. I've seen both. Right. Which is a demonstration of the fact that the monies we come into are not only because of our own, what we call in Hebrew, hishtadlut, our own human initiative. Right. There's another factor. There's the God factor. Yeah. And if there's a God factor, and that same God is telling you to give something away to those who are less fortunate that need it. So we have this mitzvah now before Purim, on Purim Matanat Levyonim, which was in the Megillah, written by Mordechai and Esther, that we should celebrate Purim by giving food, money. Well, it's really money so that people can afford a meal for the Purim Seudah, the Purim feast.
Oh, nice. Okay, so there's a few things. So we can... Well, so a Chabad rabbi told me once that you're not supposed to test God. You're supposed to have faith. And if things don't go the way you expected, you're supposed to have faith that it's for a reason. But he told me that the one thing you can test God about is giving tzedakah. And that you can document how much you give and how much you end up having over time.
Wow.
Have you heard this? Does that sound right to you?
I mean, I've heard it, and I definitely heard it from Chabad.
Yeah.
Because if anyone has faith when it comes to money, it's Chabad.
Yeah.
These guys are building buildings before they have the pledges in.
Yeah.
You know, and my yarmulke is off to them because I'm a much more conservative kind of spender and thinker in terms of MJE. Like, I won't hire somebody for a position at MJE unless we have the money
Yeah.
to have them here for a year.
Yeah.
Chabad, you know, a lot of them they've got higher levels of faith.
And it seems to be going okay.
Yeah, they're doing okay. Thank God. You know,
Do you want to tell us about the dollars? Did you ever get a Rebbe dollar?
I got a dollar from the Rebbe.
What's that? And who's the Rebbe for the folks at home?
The late and great Rabbi Menachem Schneerson was the last of the Chabad rabbis. I think he was number 7.
Yes.
And he was a great Torah luminary. He was a brilliant scholar in his own right and a incredible leader who inspired probably 2 generations now of shluchim, emissaries going out to the far-flung corners of the earth to spread Torah and the message of just the light of Judaism. It's a very, very beautiful. So Chabad's amazing.
And there really are. Chabad is famous for having these synagogues or houses in like almost every country.
Yeah.
Anywhere that Jews are going to travel, they can get kosher food and they can observe Shabbos at a Chabad house. And he would give away dollars.
He gave dollars. I think the idea behind the giving of the dollars that he was really giving a blessing.
Okay.
But the blessing needs to be somehow transferred into the physical realm through something material. And what is more material than a dollar?
Oh, interesting.
So he would give out a dollar, and of course you're supposed to give it to tzedakah or hold on to whatever it is. You're not like supposed to just like spend it on something.
Okay, so I had a bit of a different understanding of what it was about. I thought the idea was that everyone should learn to be a giver and learn to give charity, but some people are hesitant to give away some of their own money. So the Rebbe would give you a dollar and say, here, you give this to charity.
Oh, maybe.
And then you can do the act of giving without having to risk your own money.
Did you read that somewhere like that? That's what they say? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
It could be. It could very well be that he was encouraging people to give tzedakah by giving you a dollar.
Yeah.
I just remember when I was a kid, my father, when the pushka would come around on Sundays, I used to go to Minyan with my dad on Sunday mornings, and they would come around with the pushka, like the charity box.
Yeah.
He would always give me the dollar or whatever it was to put it in.
Nice.
And that was always fun.
Yeah.
Because when you're a kid, putting like a coin into like a little thing was fun.
Yes.
Especially when you're bored in shul.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better than putting it in the gumball machine.
I'll tell you another quick story. I used to have a donor who every single year would send his check. He would hand deliver it through his son.
Ah.
And it was cute. Every year I'd sit and schmooze with his little boy, and I'd say, like, I'd call the father. It was like, you could just put it in the mail, because I was like waiting for his check one. He was like, well, my son's not available. I was like, just put the check in the mail. He goes, Rabbi, I want my son to be part of this mitzvah because I want him to give one day when I'm not around anymore. Yeah. And how's he going to do that if he doesn't learn at a younger age? So this is being said for all of those that didn't necessarily see that in their home. Giving is such an important part of being a Jew, to not always being on the receiving end. And I think this is a problem in the Jewish community today, particularly for young people, because we've made Judaism free.
Oh. You can go to synagogue for free. You can eat the food for free.
That always existed.
Okay.
What intensified, I would say, in the last 20 years is the Birthright Israel phenomena.
Oh.
Now, it was a brilliant idea. I know Michael Steinhardt, he was a supporter here for many years, that we're going to give you a free trip to Israel.
Yeah.
But then, outreach rabbis on college campus, desperate to fill their pews, if you will,
Yeah.
are also offering free classes, free this, even offering money to take a class.
Oh.
There was a program called Maimonides where you get like $500 or $360 to come and take a course with the rabbi.
Is that still going?
You know, and I understand why people were doing it. They were doing it to encourage people to come.
Yes.
And the hope is that eventually they'll get sucked into the Judaism and they'll see the value and then they'll want to pay for it later on.
Right.
That doesn't happen to everybody.
Right.
What ends up happening to a lot of people is that they just get used to doing Jewish for free.
Yeah.
And then it creates like, I mean, I'm just going to be honest, like it's one of the problems I have.
Okay.
Because it's not their fault. It's training.
Right.
And if you're constantly used to getting things for free, even if you have the money, you may not part with it.
Right.
Why should I pay for this if I can get it for free? I can come to a class for free. This. We sometimes have people, you know, we charge $10 for a class on Wednesday night.
Right.
Now, if you don't have $10, you may not have $10. But if you have $10, but you're used to getting it for free, and then you're insulted that you got charged, or that the Shabbat dinner, you know, $50. Now, most people understand food costs money.
Especially
Everything costs
kosher
money.
food.
Yeah, but even if you're walking into a synagogue, somebody has to pay the electric bill.
Right.
So it's a very, very important thing, and I see it very quickly at MJE, who was raised in a certain kind of way and who wasn't. And I'm saying it's not anyone's fault if that's not the way you were raised.
Yeah.
To like give back and be a part of a community that expected you to give back. You might just and you got used to getting all the Jewish stuff for free. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox in a minute, but it's definitely something that rubs me the wrong way.
Okay. That people don't want to pay for the services they get from MJE.
It's not MJE per se. I see it in many other synagogues, and I talk to a lot of other rabbis. It's a unique phenomena to Manhattan too.
Oh.
Because when you move to the burbs and there's families there, somehow everybody grows up and realizes things cost money and they don't expect everything for free anymore.
Yeah.
They're willing to pay for their kids' Jewish education. They're willing to pay for a building fund in the synagogue. But singles on the Upper West Side, now they don't have as much disposable income, obviously. They're younger.
Yeah.
So you can't expect the same kind of money from someone who's in their 40s or 50s as someone who's in their 20s or 30s. But you should expect something if they're coming.
Yeah.
And by the way, what I'm saying is not more for religious, for not religious. I see this across the board. I see this in many of the Orthodox synagogues. Also, I was a rabbi in 2 Orthodox synagogues before I started MJE. And I had the same issue, same problem. People are like, they're not looking at themselves as like legitimate parishioners. I'm just kind of floating around the West Side and I stop in, so I'm not going to give any money. One day when I settle down in a real community and I have children and I have a family, then I'll pay. But what about the community that you're getting from right now? Why shouldn't you support them? Yeah. Now, again, I'm not talking about the amount. You notice I haven't said a word about the number, because it's not about the number. It's about being a giver.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Purim is coming up.
Yeah.
There are special rules.
Did I make you feel awkward there? Was
No.
that no?
No.
Okay. Good.
No, I'm just thinking about what's in it. No, it's not awkward. I mean, I think maybe being in Manhattan, like I just moved to Manhattan, and there's like, it's overwhelmingly expensive here.
Crazy.
And maybe part of it is a feeling of like, my 1-bedroom apartment is $4,000 a month, and every meal is $30, and now I gotta pay for the class at the synagogue too. Right. You know. Right. You do feel that like scarcity mentality when you move here.
Yeah, because everything else is so expensive. But why is there an assumption that the Jewish stuff is free?
No, it's not. Yeah.
You know, that's the problem. Listen, everything we do here is heavily, heavily subsidized.
Oh yeah.
Our ski retreat, our spring retreat, our trips to Israel, our Shabbat dinners, our classes. We're trying to make the bar for entry very low and minimal.
Just not zero.
Just not zero. Now, the truth is, some people have said to me, Rabbi, is it even worth it for what you're asking? That $10? You know?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Is it even worth, let's say, putting off a Jew because you're charging something?
Right. What if someone doesn't come because it's $10?
So my feeling is this, is that I'd rather that I feel that if they're not asked to give something, they won't feel any investment and they will not take the experiences seriously.
Right.
If you don't give to something, and I'll tell you, I know this for a fact because whenever we ask for sign up in advance of an event that's free
Yeah.
versus a sign up for an event that costs not a lot,
Right.
it could be $10.
Right.
We get many more no-shows for the sign up that was free.
Because they're not out any money.
Simchas Torah, we don't charge people.
Right.
It's a holiday. We don't handle money on the holiday, and I'm not going to ask people to pay in advance.
Right.
We get crazy numbers of people that sign up. Most people show up.
Right.
But there's a good 10, 15% that won't.
Really.
The next week, we do another event. We ask for $10. Everybody comes.
Everyone who paid the $10, of course.
Because there's an investment. I paid something for this. I'm going to come.
Right. Wow. Okay. Purim is coming up.
Yeah.
Purim has special rules for tzedakah, right? If someone asks you for money on Purim, you're supposed to say yes.
You're not supposed to turn them down.
You don't even think about if they need the money or they deserve the money or anything.
Yeah.
If someone comes to you and you think, oh, you're just going to spend it on drugs,
Yeah.
guess what? You're supposed to give them the money, right?
Yeah, now it's for fellow Jews. Matanat Levionim. Now, charity in general includes Jews and non-Jews.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we talked about that.
Yes.
Well, we did a little bit because you
I
got
mean,
the guys who-
I encourage people to focus their charity on Jewish causes because we're small people.
Yeah.
But giving to a non-Jewish cause or to non-Jewish poor people is also considered tzedakah. It is.
Okay.
Not on Purim, though. Purim is a separate mitzvah, Matanat Levionim, specifically within the community.
Okay.
And anybody who wants to contribute, I have to do this when we finish this. We have a link that we want people to contribute towards Matanat Levionim.
Oh, yeah. I'll put it under the podcast. Just make sure I get the
Yeah.
link. We'll take a look in the show notes and you'll see the link.
Right. That it's supposed to also be distributed on Purim so people can use
On
the
Purim
money.
Day.
So they can use the money to partake of a Purim feast.
Right. And just in case the folks at home don't know, Purim is a holiday, but it is not a Yom Tov. So
It actually is considered a Yom Tov, but it's not like a Yom Tov with restrictions.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's actually considered a holiday. That's where people dress up, not just costumes, but look nice.
Yeah.
And but it doesn't have the restrictions of like Shabbat or the Yom Tovim, like the festivals.
So you can handle money.
You can handle money. You can get in a car. You can do all that.
Take
fun
the
stuff.
train to
Yeah.
the party.
Yeah.
Okay. So if someone approaches you, you're supposed to be.
If a fellow Jew approaches you for something on Purim, you're supposed to give him that. You don't have to give him a lot. But you're supposed to give him something.
Okay. I was at a shir and I asked this question and nobody was amused by my question, but I said, can you test your friends and ask them for money?
Right.
And see if they're really being generous. Mm-hmm. And well, someone said, sure you can, but then he can ask you for the money right back and you got to give it to him.
Right, but you're supposed to be in need. It can't be like a joke.
Well, I think that what we were learning is that if you're not supposed to question whether the person asking you for money is really in need or not. You're just supposed to be generous.
My only question is a lot of yeshivas send out their students to raise money for them on Purim.
Okay.
I've never done that because I'm not sure that really qualifies as Matanas Levionim. I don't think it does.
If your yeshiva's not really poor.
A matana is a gift to the poor people.
Yeah.
Yeshiva is an institution. It's not a poor person. They may be poor,
It may be.
but they may need the money, but that's not what Purim is for necessarily.
Okay. And then there's this thing called Mishloach Manot,
Yes.
which is kind of like charity.
No.
Okay.
Food baskets to engender unity and love and camaraderie within the community.
Okay. And you're supposed to give a gift of food to
At
people
least
in your
one
community.
Jew. Yeah.
At least one Jew. It's supposed to be two different kinds of food, right?
2 different species of foods to one fellow Jew, and then for Matanot Levionim, for the charity to the poor, supposed to give to at least 2 fellow Jews, enough to have a Seuda, a Purim feast.
Oh, nice. Okay. So, like a B'rei Puri Ha'adama and a B'rei Puri Ha'etz, for example.
Yeah, something like that. Something that could be eaten part of the meal. It could be a little booze. It could be some wine. It could be a cake. It could be cookies.
Okay.
That's dessert.
Yeah. And so I think there's an idea that like, oh, if you're religious, you're not supposed to value money or you're not supposed to prioritize money. And I guess we don't really value money in it. We don't prioritize money in itself, but you're not supposed to try and be poor. You're not supposed to be a monk, and you're not. And the more money that you make and you earn, and you make a good profession, it enables you to give more and to be more
100%.
helpful.
There's a value in Judaism to having money, not for its own sake.
Yeah.
To see money as a tool to feed your family, to give your loved ones what they need to have the basics, necessities in life, because, all the studies show that more money doesn't produce more happiness as long as you have a roof over your head and clothing on your back. But
just real quick, if you're listening to this in your car, you're not being pulled over. There is a siren outside. We
this is what
recorded in New
happens.
York City.
Yeah, we're on West 86th Street in my office, in my study. That's what I get to listen to a lot, unfortunately. So,
well, imagine living in a city with no ambulances and no police.
Right,
Be a lot more noisy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
We'd be dead.
Okay. That was a weird thought. Okay, so getting back to money is important to have the basics in life.
Yeah.
More than the basics, more money doesn't make you happier necessarily. But you can do a lot of good with money.
Yeah.
King Solomon famously said in his book of Proverbs, "Hakesef yaneh hakol," money can answer everything. Now, what does he mean by that? If two people, their relationship is not doing well, it's not like you can throw a lot of money and it's going to fix the relationship. It's not like if someone's, God forbid, ill and all the doctors in the world can't cure the illness, God forbid. It's not like money can fix that either. But money can fix a lot of things. And if you have more money, it is a good thing sometimes to say, you know what? I have this other issue. I can solve it with some money. And that's a great thing, that you don't have to put yourself through anguish. You might have to save the emotional energy for something else because you have the money to fix that problem. And you can give tzedakah and lift people up. I love when I see celebrities and others who are really using the bulk of their money to help others because they're happier people. The celebrities that spend all of their money on multiple homes and just living very lavish lifestyles are not in any way any happier than anyone else.
Right.
Those celebrities or just people with lots of money that are they can see the positive change that they have affected in this world, that goes so much farther than another home, another car.
Yeah. And the bigger your house is, the more empty it will feel when no one wants to spend time with you.
Yeah, because we are products of our giving.
Yeah.
And it's not like people love us more because we have more.
No.
People might want to hang around with you a little more because they might want something from you.
Might be able to get something
if you have more. But it doesn't create more love.
No.
And what we need is love and connection and elevation. So that's why there are a lot of people with a lot of money that are miserable, and there are a lot of people with not a lot of money that are very happy.
Yeah.
Now, is it a value to have less money? No, it's not a value.
Right.
Some of the greatest rabbis were very wealthy people, and some of the greatest rabbis were incredibly poor.
Yeah.
Some were blessed with more, some were not as blessed in terms of that. But their attitude was the same. Their attitude was, how am I using this to bring more of God and kindness and goodness into this world?
Right.
Because if you're just looking at your money as a way of just fixing your own problems, now you need a certain amount to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not poo-pooing that. That's a real thing. But I will tell you, organizations like MG wouldn't exist without people giving tzedakah.
Yeah.
And some of my greatest relationships I've developed over the years are with people that really are not super wealthy, but really care about Jewish continuity. They really care that young Jewish people are being paid attention to spiritually.
Yeah.
And that they have a community. And they love to hear stories about, or come to MG and see what's going on here. And they would prefer to spend their money on that than another car or something else. Yeah. And that's, God bless them, because I and a lot of other, organizations, MGE and the like, would not exist if it wasn't for people's generosity. And if it wasn't for people understanding where they get their true satisfaction in life from.
Yeah.
It's not getting more, it's giving more.
Yeah. Now, isn't there a famous line in Pirkei Avot? It's something like more money, more problems.
Marba nechasim, marba da'aga, it says. The more possessions you have, the more worry.
Oh, it's possessions, not money.
Same thing.
Well, okay.
But think about it for a minute. You own multiple homes. You got to worry about that.
That's a lot.
You got a leak in this roof. You got a leak in that roof. You have another car, blah, blah, blah. You
At some
become
point,
more
you need a
protective.
staff to look after all your houses,
Right.
and then you have that to worry about too.
It does create a little more, to have to worry about.
Yeah. Yeah. So would you take that to mean give more away?
Probably.
Yeah.
As long as you have enough to live comfortably.
Yeah.
It's just that if you believe that having so much more is going to make you so much happier,
Right.
you're gonna give less away and you're gonna spend more on yourself. And I'll say something else also. It's not just that. It's like we have to be a little more tsanua, which means modest, with the way we kind of, I guess, I don't know what the word is. I don't know. We don't want to be showing off. I think I mentioned this to you about weddings. I've been to...
Shouldn't be flexing on people.
Yeah, just like we wouldn't, if somebody has a great body.
Yeah.
So our society encourages that person to show off their great body.
Yeah.
Judaism frowns on that because there's nothing wrong with having a great body, and someone is blessed with that kind of physical beauty. That's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a reason to start showing everyone else.
Right.
Because then I'm thinking the only way I'm going to really benefit from this great body is by other people's admiration of that. Same thing with money. Just because a person has a lot of money, so now I'm going to be thought of better because other people see how much money. First of all, everyone knows when other people have a lot of money.
Yeah.
You don't need to throw $1 million wedding
Right.
to demonstrate it.
Right.
In fact, and I don't know if I shared this, Jill and I went to a wedding just a couple of weeks ago. And the families happened to be, relatively well off. Very well off, actually.
Okay.
But it was a modest wedding. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But they could have spent so much more, and they chose not to. And I have
Yeah.
such respect for that.
Yeah.
Because think about what it does to all the people who don't have the money. It makes a person who spends $30,000, which is not nothing, feel like a pauper. Because $30,000 is like very little these days for a wedding.
Oh, great. That's good to know.
Yeah. There's no mitzvah to spend $30,000 either. You don't have to. There's no, it's just become some cultural kind of norm. And it's very against the Jewish spirit of things, which is to be modest.
Yeah.
And if somebody's very smart, the goal isn't to get everyone else to know how smart you are by using, more sophisticated vocabulary or finishing up that Rubik's Cube really quickly in front of someone. Whatever you would do to demonstrate your smarts.
I feel personally attacked on the Rubik's Cube thing.
I had a very...
Do I have to stop doing my Rubik's Cube
No,
in
you
front
could
of
do
people
it.
now?
It's just if you would stop the service in the middle, Daniel, on Shabbat, and you'd be like, I just want everyone to see. Look at this. And I mix it up for you, and then you put it back together in 2 seconds. I think that'd be like a little...
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is when you...
I can't do 2 seconds. It's more like 60 seconds I can do it.
Can you really?
Well, now I feel bad.
Well, yeah, you're just telling everybody. Right. There's a very fine line because there's nothing wrong with having a beautiful wedding.
Yeah.
Having good food, a great band.
And it's good at a wedding. You're being generous with your people, right? You're feeding them and showing them a good time, right?
Yeah, but that's not tzedakah.
Right.
I'll tell you what was tzedakah at weddings. And I went to a wedding in Brooklyn that had this. But classically, weddings were places where poor people could go and get a meal.
Yes, I've heard of this.
I went to a very Orthodox wedding in Brooklyn a couple of years ago, and I saw an empty table. And I was like, it's a little strange. There's usually a couple of empty seats at maybe a table, but a completely empty table.
Mm-hmm.
Then I realized it was a table set for poor people in the neighborhood.
That's great.
And then in the middle of the wedding, a whole group of people came in, sat down, had dinner, and left.
Wow.
And that's the way weddings were. Can you imagine if that at the Pierre or wherever people are making their crazy weddings, they would throw them out.
So at the weddings you go to, they don't do that anymore?
Not really.
Oh, that's
I don't see it. Sometimes I see people walking around asking for money.
Okay.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that. It could be a little disturbing, and I could see, and this is very complicated. It goes back to our question before. I said that when I worked in law, and I worked in my dad's firm, 53rd and Madison, I was living in Queens at home, and I would take 2 trains, and by the time I got from my home to my work, I'd be stopped 3 or 4 times by people, asking for handouts. And I always felt guilty, like I'm giving them a nickel, a quarter, but I don't know, where's the money going? And then I met this one guy. Now I'll tell you, I met 2 different people.
Okay.
I met one guy, one's positive, one's negative. Which one do you want to hear?
We have time.
I'll give you the negative. I'll give you the positive one first. I met one guy who was camped out in front of my dad's building. My dad was in this building for 46 years.
Wow.
My brother's still operating out of Wilds and Weinberg on 515 Madison Avenue. Been there for 46 years. And this gentleman was there every day. This is like a long time ago, 25, 30 years ago, at least. I was working in law, and I would talk to him every day, and he was like a total normal guy who just, everything went wrong in his life. And he was on the street, and he couldn't get a job because he didn't have a home, and he couldn't afford a home because he didn't have a job. And he was not addicted to anything. He was like a legitimate homeless guy. So I helped him.
Yeah.
Then there was another guy who came to my shul and would walk around collecting. And then I used to learn sometimes after services were over for like an hour.
Yeah.
So I'd come out and I would see the guy on the car tanning. And he had his shirt off. He was like all buff. And I was like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm just chilling out, waiting for afternoon services. I said, you don't have a job? You're not going? No, I'm collecting my mother's disability. If I take a job, I won't be able to get the disability. I'm like, well, then you shouldn't be collecting charity. We're assuming you don't have the money, and that's why we're helping you. Right. So you have both in this world. You have very legitimate, and that's why what you want to do before parting with your 10% is you want to check out the non-for-profit that you're supporting and make sure it's going to the cause that you want to support. Yeah. It's helping the poor people that you need. That's a really important thing. You want to use your money wisely. And I see with my donors, they grill me. They grill me like, what's MGE's budget? How much is going to this? How much is going to that? What's your overhead? They want to know per capita what is, going to the actual Jewish outreach versus all the other stuff we have to pay for in order to do the Jewish outreach. Right. And those are legitimate questions, because especially if you have a lot of money, you're basically viewing your charity as a portfolio. You want to get the biggest bang out of your buck. So if you make $100,000, Uncle Sam is taking 50. You want to give 5,000. You want your 5,000 to have maximum impact.
Of course.
So you want to give to organizations that are really making a difference.
Well, good point.
Give to MGE. We're making a difference.
We're making a difference.
We are, thank God. I feel very, I can be honest with people.
Yeah.
And the day that we're not mattering anymore is the day I stop asking people for money, because I don't know how you can raise money for something that you don't think is mattering.
Right. It also pays for the podcast, right? We're on a pretty lean budget with the podcast.
Oh,
right?
we are on a very lean
budget. I already had these microphones.
You did? Everyone here should know that Daniel wanted to help the podcast, which was previously called Wildscast. Now it's called The Jewish Experience, which is a much better title. I'm looking at my book. Also the same title. But he's like, I have equipment. You don't have to pay anything for the equipment, and we're going to just talk, and it's, So I appreciate it.
We don't have to go to a fancy studio.
No.
We don't have to get guests and stuff. We do have some guests coming up. We have some interesting ones.
Yes, we're looking forward.
Great. Okay. Well, now let's move on to the actual topic that I prepared for today. No, we're at an hour. That was good. We'll save this topic for another time.
Yeah.
But that was very interesting.
I encourage everyone in giving.com, if it's hard because you're not used to it, just start small. Like anything else, start small.
Don't think you have to do 10% right away.
If you're not giving anything, don't start with 10%. Start with 2%. Move up to 5%, and eventually get to 10%. Now, by the way, we haven't even mentioned The rabbis encourage people to go up to 20%.
Oh.
The minimum is the 10.
I guess if you're a millionaire, then you can spare 20%, no problem.
If you're a billionaire, you can spend 90%.
Maybe 90%, yeah.
But you should really, I think. But like anything else, start small and build it up, and you will see it will make a difference in your life.
Maybe start with like $10 if you're not giving 10%. Start with $10 and you probably feel good, and then you can do it again.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this give tzedakah, give charity regularly.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be, you want to be growing no matter who you are.
Yeah.
So if you were doing this, you want to, if you have a good year, you can do a little more. The Talmud says not to give more than 20%.
Really?
So that you don't end up on the other side, on the receiving line. But remember what I said at the outset of our conversation. I said that everybody's required to give something.
Yeah.
And that's incredibly, incredibly important. So I wish everyone the greatest mazel and bracha with giving tzedakah, and Hashem should bless you with abundance and much more money, so you'll be able to give more charity and make more people happy. And always think about the smile you're putting on someone's face. Think about someone who really doesn't have the money for food, for shelter, for those basic necessities in life, and how you're just literally giving them life through giving away some of your money. Or if it's a cause, one of the biggest problems in the world today, Jewish world, is how many Jews we're losing to assimilation, to just lack of Jewish connection and knowledge.
Yeah.
And with a few dollars, you can bring a Jew back.
Yeah.
With a beautiful Shabbat meal with a trip to Israel, like those things are game changers for a lot of Jewish people. Speak to people right now who are very involved in the community, leaders and philanthropists, and a lot of them were helped by being sponsored to come to some event.
Definitely.
So give.
Amen.
Putting that on.